Nostalgia is very popular in today's culture. Just look around. There's tons of TV series that's getting reboots, video games that's getting remastered, and sequels being made for movies that came out 10 to 20 years ago. And NASCAR fans are always feeling nostalgia, but what's funny is that NASCAR themselves refuse to hop on that train. NASCAR tends not to look back on things, but instead keep moving forward. It's actually not been good for them though, as NASCAR continuing to reinvent the wheel is the biggest reason for its downfall. There's nothing wrong with going back to things that work, especially if those things were really popular. In this video, I'm listing off 5 things NASCAR should bring back from the past. Let's not waste any time and get into this. So starting off with number 1, NASCAR should bring back Xpipes. What are Xpipes, you may ask? It was an exhaust on the cars that gave us this very cool sound. This was a sound that was first heard in 1995 on the number 4 Morgan McClure car. As the 90s went on, more race teams started to use Xpipes, and by the 2000s, every team in the field was using Xpipes. Xpipes were mainly used at the super speedways of Daytona and Talladega. It's such a badass sound. It was one of the many reasons to look forward to Daytona and Talladega in the 2000s. Sadly, when NASCAR switched to the COT, no teams were using Xpipes going forward. Now, I'm mentioning 5 things that NASCAR needs to bring back, but Xpipes were never banned by NASCAR. Teams just stopped using them for some reason. As a matter of fact, if teams wanted to, they can use them nowadays. And guess what? They're still being used to this day, just not in the Cup Series. If you've been watching the Xfinity Series Super Speedway races within the past few years, you'll notice that you can hear that the 4s are the ones that's running the Xpipes. And the crazy thing is that there's a very low amount of 4s in the Xfinity field at the moment. Team Penske and SHR are the teams that's using the Xpipes. And it puts a huge smile on my face because it takes me back to the 2000s. Just take a listen to Chase Briscoe's car from the 2020 Talladega race. Man, I'm really hoping going forward that more teams start to use Xpipes again. That sound is too freaking cool. Number 2 is Rockingham, a track that NASCAR stopped going to in 2004, the Cup Series that is. Trucks went there in 2012 and 2013 but stopped going there afterwards. Rockingham is my favorite NASCAR circuit. First of all, the track chews the hell out of tires. After a full fuel run, the tire fall off is major, as drivers would be 4.5 seconds off from what they ran on fresh tires. You don't see that amount of tire fall off at other tracks. Another great thing about this track is that it was multi-groove. You can run anywhere at Rockingham. With the track having very steep banking, it was always really cool to see drivers run the high line, especially in turns 3 and 4 where there was no fence. You will always see drivers getting loose coming off the turns, and it happened way more at Rockingham than any other track. It's just such a great racetrack. It's not a short track, it's not a super speedway, which are the most popular track types, but Rockingham is a very popular track, and it's a track that fans really want to see back on the Cup schedule one day. Number 3 is bringing back the full season championship format. There was a time when it didn't take a full sheet of paper to explain the championship format. As a matter of fact, all it took was an index card. Whichever driver scores the most points throughout an entire season is the champion. Look at that, it doesn't even take up all the lines of an index card. The full season championship format is the most fair way to determine a champion in motorsports, period. Yes, the system wasn't perfect, but it was fair. NASCAR back in 2003 overreacted to Matt Kenseth winning only one race on his way to the title. If they wanted wins to matter more, all they had to do was give more points to the winner of a race. A lot of fans always assume that if they ever went back to a full season points format, that a driver will run away with it and lock up the title before the final race of the season. No, that's not always the case with this points format. And if someone does lock up the title, then oh well. Not every championship is going to be close, and that goes for all sports. When you sit down and watch the Super Bowl, it's not a guarantee that the game is going to be close. Blowouts happen in the Super Bowl. In the NBA and MLB, there's not a guaranteed Game 7. NASCAR's current championship format is so manufactured that it's turning fans away from the sport. Let things happen naturally. I am 100% sure that if NASCAR brought back a full season championship format, that there will be a lot of people that will come back that stopped watching because of the playoffs. This next one is going to be very controversial, but I think they should bring back single file restarts, besides at super speedways. A lot of NASCAR fans find this to be a positive change, but my thing is, what was wrong with single file restarts to begin with? I guess the only negative thing about it was that having lap down cars restart right next to the leaders, but if anything, that made the restarts kinda interesting and sometimes exciting. I don't hate double file restarts, but one frustrating thing about them is that it has caused a lot of controversy ever since they implemented it in 2009. There's been times to where the leader clearly spins his tires and the second place guy beats him to the line, but NASCAR will penalize the second place guy even though it was clear as day that the leader spun his tires. It's not a problem every week, but it's a problem that occurs a few times every year ever since double file restarts have been implemented. And I'm just confused because, like I said, why get rid of something that wasn't controversial and that was simple, and that was single file restarts? NASCAR could come out tomorrow and say we're bringing back double file restarts, and I think I'll be the only one that will be happy with that change. The last one I got on here is bringing back preseason testing. It was to prepare for the sport's biggest race, and that was the Daytona 500. Teams would be at Daytona for a few days gathering information. In some cases, there would be drivers with new teams trying to feel things out and so on. Preseason testing made fans even more pumped up for the upcoming NASCAR season. And hey, you had NASCARs on track in January. You pretty much had NASCARs on track just about all year around except for December. So forget about waiting until February to see cars on track. You're going to be seeing them the first month of the new year. Also, the test cars look pretty damn good if you ask me. I totally get why they got rid of preseason testing, so that way they could save teams some money, but hopefully 4 to 5 years from now, they'll bring it back. So there it is right there, 5 things NASCAR should bring back from the past. This was my opinion. I want to hear you guys' opinion in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and what are some things from in NASCAR's past that you guys would like to see back. Let me know in the comments, and I will definitely be reading them. I'm going to go ahead and roll up out of here. You guys have a good one. Peace.